We are dealing with the problem solving session of work, power and energy. Let us deal with the first problem. A block of mass m is kept over another block of mass capital M and the system rests on a horizontal surface. A constant horizontal force F acting on the lower block produces an acceleration of F upon twice of m plus m in the system. The two blocks always move together. We have to find the coefficient of kinetic friction between the bigger block and the horizontal surface, the frictional force acting on the smaller block, and the work done by the force of friction on the smaller block by the bigger block during the displacement d of the system. So if I consider that the entire system is moving together, so for this particular system that is moving together, so I am considering that a frictional force that will oppose it over here is kinetic friction Fk. So if I write the equation for the entire block system, then I can write F net, that is F minus Fk, which can be written as mu k m plus mg, is equal to total mass, that is m plus m, into acceleration, which is given to us as F upon twice of m plus m. So from here we obtain something like this, that F minus F by 2 is equal to mu k times of m plus mg. So the value of mu k over here will turn out to be F by 2 of m plus mg. So this is going to be the coefficient of kinetic friction between the bigger block and the horizontal surface. Now the next thing is find the frictional force acting on the smaller block. So if we are calculating this part, the frictional force acting on the smaller block, then the smaller block is also displaced because of the frictional force. There is no direct force acting on the smaller block, so the smaller block is displaced because of the frictional force, which have produced an acceleration in the smaller block which is equal to F upon twice of m plus m. So the value of frictional force that is acting on the smaller block can be simply written as mf upon twice of m plus m. And in the last part, the problem is asking us find the work done by the force of friction on the smaller block by the bigger block during the displacement d of the system. So if the displacement d is produced, then the work done by frictional force on a smaller block, work done by frictional force on a smaller block can thus be written as F into d, that is mf upon twice of m plus m into d. So this is going to be work done by frictional force on the smaller block. Let us move to the next problem. A particle moves from a point r1 vector 2m I cap plus 3m j cap to another point r2 vector 3m I cap plus 2m j cap, during which a certain force F vector equal to 5n I cap plus 5n j cap acts on the particle. Find the work done by the force on the particle during the displacement. So for this particular problem, we are stating that the initial position vector of the particle is equal to 2 I cap plus 3 j cap, and the final position vector of the particle is equal to 3 I cap plus 2 j cap. So the displacement vector can be written as the final position minus initial position vector. So if we calculate this, then I can write it as 3 I cap minus 2 I cap, that is I cap, and 2 j cap minus 3 j cap, that is minus j cap. Now the value of force that is given to us in the problem is equal to 5 I cap plus 5 j cap. Now according to the definition of work, we say that work is defined as the dot product of force and the displacement vector. So if we take the dot product of force and displacement vector, then it can be written as 5 I cap plus 5 j cap dot with I cap minus j cap, and the value over here will turn out to be 5 minus 5, that is equal to 0. So 0 work is done by this force on the particle during the displacement from position r1 vector to r2 vector. Let us deal with the next problem. A particle of mass m moves on a straight line with a velocity varying with the distance travelled according to the equation v equal to a root x, where a is a constant. Find the total work done by the forces during the displacement from x equal to 0 to x equal to d. Now, as we look at this problem, several things pop up in our head that we can maybe solve this equation of v by putting v equal to dx by dt, and then we can maybe solve this expression to get x as a function of time, and then maybe we'll do something regarding the acceleration, and then we'll calculate the force, and then multiply by displacement to calculate the work done. But this is a very long approach. The next approach is very simple, that work done by applied force, work done by all the applied force, work done by all the forces acting on the system is equal to the change in kinetic energy. So if we use this approach, we can simply calculate the change in kinetic energy, and that will give us the work done by all the forces. So if we calculate the change in kinetic energy, so work done by all the forces can be written as kinetic energy final minus kinetic energy initial. So in order to help us with this particular part, we have at x the particle from x equal to 0 to x equal to d. So kinetic energy final can be written as half m, and v final will be written as a root d whole square minus kinetic energy initial, that is half m a root 0 whole square. So from here we attain a value equal to half m a square d. So this is the value of work done for this particular problem, that the value of work done is equal to half m a square d. There is no requirement for calculating the displacement as a function of time or doing anything as such. Let us move to the next problem. In a children's park, there is a slide which has a total length of 10 meter and a height of 8 meter. Vertical ladder is provided to reach the top. A boy weighing 200 Newton climbs up the ladder to the top of the slide and slides down to the ground. The average friction offered by the slide is 3/10 of his weight. We have to find the first aspect, the work done by the ladder on the boy as he goes up, the work done by the slide on the boy as he comes down, that is frictional force which will be doing work, the work done by the forces inside the boy as he goes up. So let us start by solving it in this way, that the first the boy will go up and then he will slide and come down back again. So for this particular case, for the first thing that we are doing is marking the length. So over here this length is equal to 10 meter, and the height which the boy is going to is equal to 8 meter. This is equal to 6 meter, although we will not be using this particular length anywhere in our problem. The next thing that we are doing is we are calculating that the weight of the boy is given to us as 200 Newton. So the value of frictional force according to the problem is 3/10 of his weight. So 3 by 10 into 200, that is, it is equal to 60 Newton. So frictional force is equal to 60 Newton. So when the boy is climbing up, while climbing up, he will be working against the gravity. The boy will be working against the gravity. So work done by boy as he moves up is equal to mgh. Work done by gravity would have been minus mgh. So mg is weight of the boy, that is 200, and he goes to a height of 8 meter. So it is equal to 1600 joule. And the boy is working against the gravity. So this is the answer to the last part, that is work done by the forces inside the boy as he goes up. Now as he is going up, the ladder is not doing any work. Ladder is just a mean by which the boy is going up. So ladder is performing no work. So the answer for the first part is 0. Ladder is not doing any work. Ladder is not doing any work. If it would be a escalator which we see in shopping malls, then in that case the ladder is helping the boy getting displaced from one point to the another. So we'll say that this time the ladder is performing, or the escalator is performing some work. But in this particular case, the ladder is not, just a mean by which the boy is going up. The ladder is not doing any work. The next thing is work done by the slide on the boy as he comes down. So as the boy is coming down, the work is done by friction. So work done by friction So if we calculate the work done by friction, so frictional force will oppose the motion, and hence we say that the work done by friction will be opposite, F into displacement, that is 10 meter. So it is equal to minus 600 joule. So this is the work done by friction on the buoy as the buoy is coming down. The remaining energy, although it is not asked in the problem, the residual energy, that is equal to 1000 joule, will be stored in the form of kinetic energy of the buoy. The residual energy, that is difference between the work done by the buoy and the work done by the friction as he comes down, will be stored in the form of kinetic energy. So the buoy will come down with a certain value of kinetic energy as he reaches the base of this slide. Let us move to the next problem. A uniform chain of mass m and length L overhangs a table with its two-third part on the table. Find the work to be done by a person to put the hanging part back on the table. So if I consider this first of all by using drawing a diagrammatic arrangement, so we are considering that this is the table the problem is talking about, and the chain over here is somewhat like this, with its two-third part on the table. So one-third part is hanging down. So this is the chain, and one-third portion is hanging down. So if I mark the dimension over here, so this is equal to 2L by 3, and this one is equal to L by 3. So if we calculate, if we consider the total mass of chain, total mass of chain is given to us as M. So if we divide this mass into two portions, so one portion, that is equal to 2M by 3, is resting on the tabletop, and the another portion, which is having a mass equal to M by 3, is hanging from the table. So if I use the center of mass approach, so I say that the length of this portion, that is from the tabletop, is equal to L by 6. L by 6, that is, we have considered that the entire mass of the chain is at its center, since it is a uniformly made chain, a uniform chain that is mentioned to us. So we consider that the weight is at its center. So now the work done in lifting this chain, work done to put the hanging part back on table, to put the hanging part back on table, can be written as M, that is M by 3, G, and height, that is equal to L by 6. So we attain it is equal to mgl by 18. So we attain a value equal to mgl by 18. So this is the work that is to be done to put the hanging part back on the table. Let us deal with the next problem. A uniform chain of length L and mass m overhangs a horizontal table with its two-third part on the table. The friction coefficient between the table and the chain is mu. Find the work done by the friction during the period the chain slips off the table. So the diagram is the same as the previous problem. So we are considering this diagram itself. So this is the diagram which we have. Now in this part the problem is saying, if this length segment slips down, if this length segment slips down, then what is going to be the work done by the frictional force? So the normal reaction force equivalent to this mass is going to be 2 mg by 3. But the problem is as the chain is sliding down, the normal reaction force will change because the weight is changing, which is on the table. So for this particular problem, we are considering it in this sense. Let x length of the chain be on the table at a particular instant. We are considering that x length of chain be on table at an instant or at a particular instant. So now in order to move this length, we first of all calculate the mass of this x length or dx length that we select from it. So we say that the L length of the table have a mass m. So the x length of table is going to have a mass equal to m by L into x, or the dx patch which we select will have a mass equal to m by L into dx. So now the work done by friction in order to displace this small element is going to be the weight that is equal to we say the equal to the weight. So weight is equal to m by L g dx, which is responsible for the reaction force, multiplied by mu. Now this becomes the frictional force, and we are considering a small displacement x. So if we consider this particular thing, then the total work done can be calculated by integrating this entire thing from the length equal to 2L by 3 to the time when the total length slips off, that is 0. So we get the expression as mu mg upon L x dx. So if we solve this out, we attain the work done by friction is coming out to be equal to 2 mu mg L by 9. So this is going to be the answer for this particular problem. So we are considering that the chain is sliding bit by bit, and we have considered it in this sense that at a distance x from here, we have selected a portion of the chain which is having length dx, and as it is sliding down by this distance x, the work done by friction is calculated, and then we have integrated from this portion to this length, that is from 2L by 3 to the 0 section, because this part is going to travel a distance of 2L by 3 and this is going to travel 0 distance. So that is why we have integrated it from 2L by 3 to 0 to calculate the value equal to 2 mu mg L by 9. Let us move to the next problem. One end of a spring of natural length h and spring constant k is fixed at the ground, and the other is fitted with a smooth ring of mass m which is allowed to slide on a horizontal rod fixed at a height h. Initially the spring makes an angle of 37 degree with the vertical. When the system is released from rest, find the speed of the ring when the spring becomes vertical. So if we consider this problem, it is saying that so we are first of all drawing this triangle. So if we consider this triangle that is 37 degree, this is equal to h. So this is the length of the spring right now. So if we calculate this, we write it as cos 37, which is equal to 4 by 5 is equal to h by L. So L right now is equal to 5h by 4. So I am calculating the elongation in the spring. Elongation in the spring. So that is equal to 5h by 4 minus h. So we attain a value equal to h by 4. So this is the elongation in the spring right now. Now as it moves from this point to this point, there is no change in gravitational potential energy. There is no change in gravitational potential energy, as the height h remains the same from the ground or from the reference level. So we say that the energy stored in spring is converted into kinetic energy. So the energy that was initially stored in spring was equal to half kx square, that is the elongation in the spring. So h by 4 whole square, and that is equal to half mv square. The speed which is attains when the spring becomes vertical. So if we calculate the value of v over here, we write it as h by 4 root over k by m. So the value of speed is equal to h by 4 root over k by m as the spring becomes vertical. Let us deal with the next problem. So the next problem is stating something like this. Figure given below shows a light rod of length L rigidly attached to a small heavy block at one end and a hook at the other end. The system is released from rest with the rod in a horizontal position. There is a fixed smooth ring at a depth h below the initial position. So at a depth h below the initial position of the hook, and the hook gets into the ring as it reaches there. What should be the minimum value of h so that the block moves in a complete circle about the ring? So these are the dimensions that is given to us, and we are considering the mass is equal to m. So for this particular problem, we consider that when the system is released from here, the speed is equal to 0, and as it lowers by a height h, the block attains a value which is equal to v naught. The block will attain a value equal to v naught. So now if I consider the path which the system is defining, so it will be something like this, that this will become the fixed point or the support, and the system will be moving in this way, that this is the block of mass m, and it will start moving in this fashion in a circular path, and then over here it will reach the lowest position. So now from our result we know that when the mass is attached with a thin rod and wants to move in a vertical circular path, the minimum velocity requirement at the lowest point is equal to root over 4gl. And over here we are considering that the velocity is equal to v naught, and this is equal to length L of the rod. This is equal to length L of the rod. Now the next thing which I say over here is, as the system is falling from a height h, so the velocity v naught can be simply written as root over 2gh. Root over 2gh, if you unable to understand this, we have done simple mgh is equal to half mv square. So from here we attain v naught is equal to root over 2gh. So the system will attain the velocity which is equal to root over 2gh, and it is saying that the rod is light attached to a heavy block. So the block is having a much larger mass in comparison to the length or the rod. So in this case, if I apply work energy theorem from the point over here v naught to this point, so I'll say that this is position A and this is position B. So if we equate energy from position A to position B, so energy at A is equal to energy at B. So energy at A is equal to mgl plus half m v naught square. V naught square is equal to 2gh, which is equal to, at B the energy requirement is half mv square, that is equal to 4gl. So 2 and 2 cancel out from here. If we remove all the mg's, we get L plus, all the mg's are removed, we get L plus h is equal to 2L, or we get h is equal to L. So the minimum value of h that the block moves in a complete circle is h is equal to L. So for this particular problem, h is equal to L is the correct answer that we are looking for. Let us move to the next problem. Problem number 9. A simple pendulum consists of a 50 centimeter long string connected to a 100-gram ball. The ball is pulled aside so that the string makes an angle of 37 degree with the vertical and is then released. Find the tension in the string when the bob is at the lowest position. So if we consider this in this way, So this is the position from which the ball was released, and now the string becomes vertical, that is here. This angle is equal to 37 degree, and at this point it attains a velocity v or speed v. So if we identify the forces over here, we say that the force mg is acting in the downward direction, and apart from this, due to the velocity v, a force mv square upon L or R is acting in this direction, and this is what is balanced by the tensional force T. Now in order to calculate the value of velocity, we need to apply work energy theorem between this position and this position. So we are considering that the total length is equal to r. So if we break the component, we get this length as equal to r cos 37 degree, that is equal to 4r by 5. So if the total length is equal to r, we can calculate this length, that is it will become r minus 4r by 5, that is equal to h, and we get h equal to r by 5. We get h equals r by 5. So if the work energy theorem is applied considering this as the reference level, or the energy conservation is applied, so we say if I call this as point A and this one as a point P, so energy at point A is equal to energy at point P. So energy at point A is equal to mgh, h is equal to r by 5, and at point P it is converted into kinetic energy, that is equal to half m v square. So from here we can say that m and m cancel out. The value of v square is equal to 2rg by 5. So now if we calculate the tensional force P, then it is equal to mg plus m v square upon r, that is mg plus 2 mg by 5 or 7 mg by 5. So if we substitute the value over here, then it is equal to 7. M is equal to 100 gram or 100 by 1000. G we are considering 10 upon 5. So from here we attain something like this, that this 1000 will chop this out. So we get a value equal to 7 by 5, or we can write it as it is equal to 1.4 Newton. So the tension in the string is equal to 1.4 Newton. Let us deal with the next problem. So we are dealing with problem number 10. Figure given below shows a smooth track, a part of which is a circle of radius r. A block of mass m is pushed against a spring of spring constant k, fixed at the left end, and is then released. Find the initial compression of the spring so that the block presses the track with a force mg when it reaches the point P, where the radius of the track is horizontal. So for this particular problem, if I draw the requirement over here, so at this point P, when the block reaches over here, it is having a speed v, instantaneous speed v over here. So it will be exerting a force which is equal to mv square by r in this direction, and it is balanced by a reaction force which is equal to mg in the inward direction, as the problem is stating that the block presses the track with a force mg. So over here if I write this equation, so I can write it as mv square upon r is equal to mg, that is v square is equal to rg. So now if I talk about energy conservation, so I can say that over here energy is stored in a spring is converted into the kinetic energy of block, which in turn at a point P is equal to kinetic energy of block plus the potential energy which is attained while moving to a height equal to r. So according to this expression over here, the spring potential energy was converted into kinetic energy, and the block will start rising up to a point P. And if I write this expression over here, so I can say that the spring potential energy can be written as half k L square, where small l is the compression in the spring, and then we are equating it with the right hand part, that is kinetic energy of block plus potential energy at point P. So kinetic energy at point P is equal to half mv square, that is equal to rg, and it is at a height r, so it is equal to mgr. So for this particular problem, I can say that half kl square is equal to 3 by 2 mgr, and the value of l will become 3 mgr by k root over. So this is going to be the value of compression that is needed in the spring, so that it reaches a point P and presses the track with a force mg. Let us deal with the next problem. So now we have a paragraph type problem over here, and the paragraph is from question number 11 to 13. A small block of mass capital M moves on a frictionless surface of an inclined plane as shown in the figure. The angle of the incline suddenly changes from 60 degree to 30 degree at the point B. The block is initially at rest at A. Assume that the collision between the block and the incline are totally inelastic. So the problem that are asked is the speed of the block at point B immediately after it strikes the second incline. The next one is the speed of the block at the point C immediately before it leaves the second incline. And the last part is if the collision between the block and the incline is completely elastic, then the vertical component of the velocity of the block at point P immediately after it strikes the second incline is. So if we start dealing with this particular paragraph, so we are saying that as the inclined plane is frictionless, we say that the kinetic energy at D is equal to potential energy at A. So if we say something like this, so if I draw this portion of the incline, so this one is equal to 60 degree. Over here this is equal to root 3 meter, and we are considering this as a height h. So we will be over here at a point A, and this is point B, which is the lower end of the incline. So we can say over here that kinetic energy at B is equal to potential energy at A. So kinetic energy at B can be written as half mv square, which is equal to potential energy at A, that is equal to mgh. So over here, in order to calculate the value of h, we are simply using tan 60 degree, which is equal to h by root 3. H by root 3. So from here we get h is equal to root 3 into 3, that is equal to 3 meter. So if I put this h over here, so I will get the value equal to half v square is equal to g into 3, that is equal to 30. So v is equal to root over 60 meter per second. So this is the velocity of the block just before the collision. Now this velocity over here, so if I draw this, so it reaches over here and it is moving with this velocity v, which we have calculated. So now at this part, if I magnify this diagram, so I am saying something like this, that if we look at this particular case, it is something like this. So at this point the velocity is directed like this with a speed v, and it makes an angle of 30 degree with the vertical. It makes an angle of 30 degree with the vertical. So I can say that this angle over here is equal to 30 degree. So the velocity of the component along the incline, that is BC, remains unchanged, and this will be equal to V cos 60 degree. Sorry, V cos 30 degree. So this is equal to 30 degree, and it will become V cos 30 degree over here. So at this point the velocity component along the incline BC remains unchanged and it will become equal to V cos 30 degree. So over here we can calculate it as root 60 and cos 60 degree is equal to root 3 by 2. So from here we attain a value equal to root over 180 by 4, that is equal to root 45 meter per second. So if we look at this problem, it is stating the speed of the block at a point P immediately after it strikes the second incline. So it is going to be equal to root 45 meter per second. That is option B is correct for this particular problem. So as it strikes over here, it is also indicated in this diagram. So this angle is 30 degree and this component will become V cos 30 degree. And it is also because of the fact that it is given that the collision at B is perfectly inelastic, therefore the impact forces act normal to the plane such that the vertical component of velocity becomes 0. So the vertical component of velocity will get nullified, it will become 0, but the component along the incline will remain as it is, that is we get value equal to V cos 30 degree. Let us deal with the next problem. So the next problem is stating the speed of the block at a point C immediately before it reaches the second incline. So in this particular case, we are dealing with it in this way. So if I again come back to this diagram, so over here it is equal to BE, we are making this point as equal to E. So if I say in this triangle, if I say in the triangle BEC, so I'll be drawing this triangle in the other page, kindly take a note, BEC will be drawn, this is 3 root 3 and this is equal to 30 degree. So if I draw this triangle over here, that is BEC, so this is equal to 3 root 3 meter and this angle is equal to 30 degree. So if we apply tan 30 over here, so we say tan 30 is equal to BE by CE, that is equal to 1 by root 3, which is equal to BE by 3 root 3, and we attain a value equal to 3 meter. So if we apply mechanical energy conservation at B and C respectively, so I can say energy conserved at B and C respectively. So now at B the value of velocity is calculated as half m root over 45 whole square, half m v square, plus equal to mgh, that is mg is 10 into 3, which is equal to half m velocity at c squared. So from here I can chop out all the m, and from here we attain Vc as equal to root over 105 meter per second. So for this particular problem we say root over 105 meter per second, or option B is correct. Let us deal with the next problem. So if the collision between the block and the incline is completely elastic, then the vertical component of the velocity of the block at a point B immediately after it strikes the second incline will be. So now the velocity of the block along BC just before the collision is V cos 30. That is, if I draw it one more time. So this is how the inclined plane arrangement is looking like. So just before the collision over here, we say that this velocity V can be written in this way, V cos 30 and V sin 30 respectively. So if the collision is perfectly elastic, then I can say that the velocity can be broken in this way in the two component. The impact forces act perpendicular to the surface so that the component of velocity along the incline remains unchanged. So the component of velocity along the incline, that is V cos 30, remains unchanged. Also, since the collision is elastic, the vertical component, that is V sin 30, before the collision changes in direction, the magnitude remains the same as we have marked in the figure. So the rectangular component of the velocity after collision are as shown in the figure. This means that the final velocity of the block should be horizontal, making an angle of 30 degree with BC. making an angle of 30 degree with BC over here. Therefore, the vertical component of the final velocity of the block is 0. So the vertical component of the final velocity of the block will be 0 in this particular case. So we are dealing with the last paragraph for this segment. A block of mass 1 kg is released from rest at the top of a rough track. The track is of circular arc of radius 40 meter. The block slides along the track without toppling, and a frictional force acts on it in the direction opposite to the instantaneous velocity. The work done in overcoming the friction up to the point Q, as shown in the figure given below, is 150 joule. So the first problem that is asked is the magnitude of normal reaction that acts on the block at the point Q, and the next one is the speed of the block when it reaches the point Q. So if we consider this particular problem, so I am drawing a magnified version of this diagram first of all. So this is the magnified version which we are dealing with over here, and this is the line which is joined from the center, and this is regarded as point Q over here. So this angle is marked as 30 degree. So over here, if I consider something like this, so then the weight of the block mg is acting in the downward direction like this, and the speed which it is having over here is equal to v, which is the instantaneous speed. So if I break the component of mass m, so the component of mass m can be broken in this direction, which will become equal to mg cos 60 degree. Why? Because this angle is 90, this one is 60. So this one will also be vertically opposite angle, that is equal to mg cos 60. And apart from this, because of the instantaneous velocity v, a force that is acting in the outward direction will also be mv square upon r. So, and both of them will result in the creation of normal reaction force N, which will be directed towards the center of this circular track. So from here I can write the expression that the normal reaction force N can be written as mg cos theta plus mv square upon r. Now in the next part over here, I am breaking the component of the distances that we have traveled. So this is equal to 40 meter, which is mentioned in the problem, which is the radius of this particular circular track. So this height which it is lowered by, that is this height, is equal to 40 sine 30. So this height is equal to 40 sine 30. So there will be two components. This component will be 40 cos 30, and the other component over here will be equal to 40 sine 30, which is marked as h in the diagram. So the loss in potential energy. So as the block moves from the upper edge to this point Q over here, so the loss in potential energy, can be written as mg into h. So this over here will come out to be, the mass of the block is 1 into 10 into h is equal to 40 sine 30, that is half. So this is giving to us equal to 200 joule. Now this is some part is spent in overcoming friction. So work done in overcoming friction, So work done in overcoming friction is equal to 150 joule. So the residual energy is in the form of kinetic energy if we use work energy conservation or energy conservation theorem. So we say that Therefore, kinetic energy of block will be equal to 200 minus 150, that is equal to 50 joule. And we can say that this is equal to half mv square, which is equal to 50 joule, or from here I can take that mv square is equal to 100. Now in the problem we are asked to find mg cos theta plus mv square by r. So therefore the normal reaction force which the problem is asking is equal to mg cos theta plus mv square by r. So if we start putting the value, we have this is equal to 1 kg into 10 into cos 60 is half, plus mv square is equal to 100 and radius is equal to 40. So this will give us the normal reaction force which we are looking for, and it will turn out to be 7.5 Newton. So if we look at the options, so the answer is option 1, that is 7.5 Newton is the magnitude of normal reaction force that acts on the block at the point Q. Let us deal with the next problem. So the next problem is asking the speed of the block when it reaches the point Q. So over here we have already calculated this from this expression that half mv square is equal to 50. So if we use this expression, that is half mv square is equal to 50. So from here I can take that half mass is equal to 1 kg into v square is 50. So v is equal to square root of 100, that is equal to 10 meter per second. So in this case we get the answer equal to 10 meter per second. That is option B is correct for this particular problem. So with this we come to an end of the problem solving session for work energy theorem.